Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Panda Rants. I am your host, Panda, at Dicky Dinero on Twitter. Today we're talking Oakland Raiders, snow in the Northeast, a particularly disgusting beer that you will definitely want to hear about. We're talking Michael Jordan's son, the GOP Oversight Committee. We will be discussing the ongoing trial of Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX. If you're not familiar, you'll get familiar, and a couple other random things. You know I'll have a rant for you at the end. That's why you're here. But let's get into the Oakland Raiders. Last night, Oakland Raiders fire their head coach Josh McDaniels and also their GM Dave Ziegler. I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone. As we all know, especially if you listened yesterday, the Raiders are garbage. They're hot trash. They haven't been good for a long time. They've had their moments, and Davante Adams has got to be pissed. Josh Jacobs is talent, man. He's a dog. So we'll see what happens there. As far as I know, Antonio Pierce is going to be their interim head coach. Champ Kelly is their interim GM. Aiden O'Connell is going to start at quarterback over Jimmy Garoppolo. Davante Adams, I wonder how he feels about that. I mean, you go from playing with Aaron Rodgers to Jimmy Garoppolo, and now Aiden O'Connell. I'm not going to lie, I've never heard this man's name before today. So we'll see how that works out for them. If you remember, John Gruden resigned from his 10-year contract, so they're still paying Gruden out. Josh McDaniels has 4 years left on his contract, and you may not be aware, but NFL head coaching contracts are all guaranteed. Now, Gruden being Gruden, he settled for less than what they would owe him. Not sure what will happen with McDaniels, but that means the Raiders are paying anywhere between $40 and $80 million for two people to not coach their team, not to mention the third head coaching salary for the actual head coach. The Raiders are in shambles. I feel bad. I feel bad for Raiders fans. I know the Raiders fans are happy seeing Josh McDaniels get fired. I mean, he hasn't really been doing anything good. Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler both worked for Bill Belichick at one point. I wonder if we'll see Josh McDaniels come back and work with Belichick in some capacity. And that's really all I got on that. If I was a Raiders fan, I would probably be ranting a bit harder about this one. I mean, the Raiders just suck. You fire your head coach and your GM. You bench your starting quarterback. All on Halloween. Talk about trick or treat, dude. Real quick, I want to talk about this whole snow bullshit. I live in Ohio, so I'm used to snow in the winter. It's nothing new. But every single year, I'm not going to say it. I fucking hate the snow. I'm not ready for it to be cold. I'm not ready to see snow on the ground. Dry and cold, I can do. 30 degrees, sunny, no snow on the ground. Yeah, I'll take that all day, every day. But this snow bullshit, I woke up and saw the entire ground, everybody's houses, all the trees covered in snow, and I wanted to scream. If you watched any Maction last night, you saw that it was snowing like crazy in Toledo. Last night's matchup, we had Northern Illinois at Central Michigan. Central Michigan pulls it out 37-31. Rocky Lombardi, 298 passing yards. Dog. We had Buffalo at Toledo. That was a snowy-ass game. Toledo kills Buffalo, 31-13. And that's in the snow. First snow game of the year. Love to see it. Hate the snow being around me. But watching football in the snow is it's a treat. All this global warming stuff, we're going to see less and less snow games, and that's disappointing. I'm looking forward to a couple more. I'm sure that we will have plenty more snow games as we move into November. Happy November 1st, by the way. But enough with the snow talk. I want to talk about possibly the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And that's no exaggeration. If you don't know her already, Amouranth, Amouranth is her stage name. She started out as this Twitch streamer, quickly became the most popular female Twitch streamer in 2022, and she's still up there. I'm not sure if she's still number one, but she became very, very popular. Following that, she's a gorgeous woman. She's very attractive. And Unfortunately, with how today's standards are going, you know exactly what happened next. She started an OnlyFans. And look, I'm not going to say anything bad about any individuals doing what they're doing. If that's what you want to do to make money and you feel good about doing that to make money, go off. I'm not going to be any part of it, but go off. The world is full of simps and degenerates. And mind you, I'm a degenerate, but I'm not going to pay to see some pussy. If you pay for someone's OnlyFans, I don't care who you are. If you're my friend listening to this, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on your family. Do better, bro. Why don't you just, I don't know, here's an idea. Go on Pornhub. The shit's free, my guy. Hundreds of thousands of free videos out there, and you want to pay $6.99 to see a streamer's pussy? Absolute travesty. Absolutely tragic. But anyways, where this story was going, Amouranth's next big thing, mind you, this is the same woman that has sold her bathwater in the past. She has sold farts in a jar. And the fact that you sell bathwater and then go to farts in a jar, that means that people bought the bathwater. That means that there are people out here that went online, saw that she was selling water that she had bathed in, and they purchased it. And you know what? I'm sure some people were like, oh, I'm going to buy this as a joke. Bro, you still bought it. You can't change that. No excuses will make up for that. And I'm not usually here to judge people, but I have my own opinions. There are things that I like and approve of and things that I don't like and I disapprove of. But that doesn't impact how I'm going to treat people that do those things. Except in this case, if you're a man or a woman for that matter, and you buy a streamer's bathwater, you're fucking disgusting. But not only did she sell the bathwater did so well that she decided to sell farts in a jar. Farts in a jar, not a gag gift, not a funny haha fake smell. This woman collected her farts. She was eating beans and burritos and shit. Like, she was actively collecting her farts to sell to people. You know, I just said that, like, I'm not gonna treat people differently. No, I'm sorry. If I find out that you bought bathwater or farts in a jar, you're disgusting. Don't ever talk to me again. So her next stunt after bathwater and farts in a jar, she's collaborating with the Order of Yoni, Y-O-N-I. It's a Polish brewery, and basically the process they're going to go through is they're going to give her a pap smear, which, if you're not familiar, is a procedure to test for cervical cancer in women, collect cells from the cervix. Anyways, they're going to get the bacteria from her vagina and brew a beer using her vaginal yeast. And now that's not fully accurate. What they're going to do is take those yeast to create the lactic acid that they will use. They isolate the lactic acid bacteria to ensure its safety, and they're going to produce unique sour ales and stouts. Yeah, talk about a sour ale. OnlyFans, bathwater, farts in a jar. Yeah, that ale is going to be very sour, I believe. She's come out and said she thinks that it'll be a hit, but she doesn't know if people will actually drink it. You sold bathwater and farts in a jar, people are going to drink it. And I think if you are a pop culture collector of some sorts, you know, the people, and this is no hate, there's people that collect Funko Pops and merch from streamers and stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure some of those people will buy this beer. It'll sit on a shelf as a collector's item, as something that is so ridiculous that they had to buy it. But I think the world's gone too far. Maybe we're too far gone. Maybe it's maybe we never come back from it. We've gotten to a point where young men are approaching women at an alarmingly low rate. And when you look around and, like, if you're on Twitter, if you're on social media, if you know people like this, you understand why. Social media and dating apps have ruined everyone's take on how to be social and how to meet people. I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I go around and talk to women everywhere I go. I've maybe walked up to 4 completely random women in my life. Like, at a bar, don't know who she is. Maybe 4 times ever. Now, that's not counting, you know, at a party, you get soft introductions to people like, oh, hey, have you met my friend? Like, that's a different story. I'm talking strictly, you do not know who this person is. You walk up to them and start a conversation. That shit is a thing of the past. If you look at the statistics for men between like 18 and 30, it's something like 75% haven't even approached a woman in the last year. And I think it was 40% that haven't done it in the last 5 years. That's not good, boys. It's not good. Stop being pussies. Go talk to women as I sit here recording the podcast from my living room. Anyways, I think this is a disgusting view on where the world's going. Some people will say it's not that serious. It is that serious. Because a society that can see this and accept it as something that is allowed to happen, no, that's you're accepting it. You're allowing it. It disgusts me. It makes me sad. You can probably tell by my voice. It makes me sad. But anyways, good for Amouranth. Get a bag. Simps will be simps. Let them do it. And that's that on that. Next, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I saw this headline this morning and my jaw kind of dropped. I just got to read it. I just got to read it. You'll understand. Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, is dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen. I'm sure if you're here and listening to this, you probably know that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were a tag team. They won 6 championships together with the Bulls. You can't mention one without mentioning the other. But that's like Batman's son dating Robin's ex-wife. Objectively, it's weird as fuck. If they're happy, cool. They're grown adults. They can do what they want. But it's weird as fuck. Michael Jordan apparently, according to his son, doesn't have a problem with it. Michael Jordan said, quote, "You're a grown adult," and that's cool. I mean, Marcus Jordan has come out and said, my dad has never interfered in my dating life before, so he's not going to now. Larsa Pippen's kind of on the same page. She's like, if people aren't happy with it, I don't give a shit. It's not their relationship. And honestly, they're right. It's going to be news to NBA superstars. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be news. But if you care enough to be upset about it, get a life. Fucking go touch grass. But it gets weirder. Marcus wants his dad to be his best man. Can you imagine being the best man at your son's wedding and he's marrying your partner in crime's ex-wife? What the fuck kind of headline is that? But hey, like I said, if they're happy, they're happy. I don't care. I'm just here to rant about it. I want to know how they hooked up. How did they get together in the first place? Is Larsa Pippen a cougar? Did she make the first move? Is Marcus Jordan just an absolute stud? And he's like, watch this. What happened? How did this start? It's not the relationship itself that I find weirdest. I want to know how it started. Maybe they met at a party. I don't know. I think it's weird, but do your thing. Shouts out to Marcus Jordan because she's pretty cute. So enough talk about Michael Jordan's son. Something that I found very interesting today. The headline is, I'll read the headline verbatim. Joe Biden received $40,000 in, quote, laundered China money from his brother in 2017. So James Comer is saying that James Biden, Joe Biden's brother, paid Joe Biden $40,000 as a, quote, unquote, loan repayment after receiving funds from Hunter Biden linked to China's Communist Party. And James Comer is now saying, you know, we've heard about the Hunter Biden scandals. The claim was that Hunter Biden made money in China linked to using his dad's influence while Joe Biden was vice president. But now it's taken a turn that not only did Hunter Biden make money in China, but his brother did too. The Oversight Committee has claimed that they do have evidence in hand. And I'm interested to see where this goes. This just broke today. We know that Hunter Biden had a WhatsApp message directly to a Chinese business associate from the Chinese energy company CEFC that he and his father would ensure, quote, "You will regret not following my direction." And I won't get into it because I will get political. I won't be able to help myself. But it does seem like there's some shady shit that happened. I just thought this was an interesting story. We know for a fact that Hunter Biden's a piece of shit. And honestly, like, as fun as it is to talk about, I can't blame Joe Biden for his son being a piece of shit. Now, if Joe Biden knew about everything that he was doing, that's a different story. But Joe Biden doesn't control his son. If people blamed my dad for every shitty thing that I've ever done, be a bad day. But essentially, the Bidens extorted some Chinese money. That's the word on the street. Now it is directly connected to our president, which is troubling, to say the least. Well, enough about how corrupt our government is. Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, and what has been going on. If you're not familiar with this trial, I'll give you a small rundown. Last fall, a report published by CoinDesk cast some doubt over the health of FTX's sibling company, Alameda Research. Alameda Research is a trading company. They're basically a hedge fund, if you will, for crypto. This caused a bank rush on FTX. So FTX is an exchange. It's a website where you can log in, you have your account, deposit your money, and you can trade cryptocurrency It's what is called a centralized exchange, which means it has one central power. That power is FTX. And so when this news broke from CoinDesk, when they started casting doubt over Alameda Research, which has very, very close ties to FTX, customers rushed to pull out of the exchange. When this happens, FTX can't meet all of their withdrawals. They paused withdrawals and essentially locked people's money inside of the exchange. Now, when news of this broke, it was huge. Binance, the most popular crypto exchange in the world, offered a rescue plan to FTX. From the outside looking in, it does sound pretty dumb for them to not take this rescue deal, but later on, recently, it's been a while since this happened, it was last November, after hearing the details of what that rescue deal would have meant, I understand why someone like that did not want to take it. So FTX files for bankruptcy on November 11th. A month later, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, he was arrested in the Bahamas where FTX is headquartered, and he was extradited to the U.S. Now, the DOJ filed a total of 13 criminal charges against him, 7 of which will be heard of the initial trial, and then a second trial will be in March of 24. This trial has exposed so much malpractice, if that's what you want to call it. FTX couldn't meet their withdrawals because SBF himself mismanaged and misappropriated funds. He made loans to himself. He made loans to his family. He was trading like a degenerate. And mind you, anybody that's trading crypto is probably some type of degenerate. It's a lot different when you're a degenerate with billions of dollars to be a degenerate. Not only was he making all these risky plays and making loans to his friends and family and himself and buying properties, he also donated to 20-some political campaigns. And it came out in court recently that he thought that was, quote, a good way to earn influence for relatively little money. And the money is relatively little to what they're dealing with, anywhere between like $20,000 and $80,000. And we didn't know this at the time, but it also came out in trial that Sam Bankman-Fried wanted to be president of the United States at some point. He thought that was in the future for him. And now, moving forward, moving up to more recently, September 30th, there was a court filing that showed a bunch of witnesses that were going to be called, a number of customers, professional investors, regular people. Their objective really is to appeal to the jury by demonstrating that, like, hey, yeah, there were billions of dollars at stake, but a lot of normal, regular, everyday people got fucked over. SBF pleaded not guilty to each of the 7 charges. So what happened back in August, he pleaded not guilty this January. He was under house arrest, but then they take him into custody in August because he was accused of tampering with witnesses. I mean, this dude is facing essentially life in prison. When he was running FTX during its heyday, they were doing so much Adderall and weird billionaire drugs. There's no way this dude is healthy enough to live 40 years in jail and then have a life after that. It's not going to happen. And so, obviously, Sam Bankman-Fried didn't do this alone. Enter Caroline Ellison. Now, if you search her name on Twitter, you're going to find some very mean things about her because she's not the most attractive person. And that's me putting it very, very, very lightly. So it comes out they were having a romantic relationship. And essentially, it was a secret relationship for a long time. They broke up, they got back together, and then they, made it a little more public. Not public, but like their coworkers knew about it this time. And it turns out they were like living together this whole time. I don't know how they hid any of that, but I digress. Sam Trabucco, he is the co-CEO of Alameda Research, FTX's sister company. He left 3 months before the collapse of FTX. The DOJ has not accused him of any wrongdoing. Not sure if he's cooperating. I don't think anybody even knows where he is. If I was that dude, give me a new identity. So what's been happening recently, the biggest news before today, before the last week or so, was Caroline Ellison being called as a witness at trial, and she read him to filth. She spilled all the beans. She was talking about all of the terrible things that he did, all of the decisions that he made that she had to go along with. And people are feeling bad for her. I don't feel bad for you. Leave. If you don't agree with it, leave. I know it's not that easy. You're making, I'm sure, millions of dollars. I would have a hard time leaving too. I think Caroline's plan with this whole trial is really to just cooperate so much that the prosecution will have no choice but to be like, okay, like, we'll give you a lightened sentence. I think she goes to jail. I recently stumbled upon a 21-minute recording of the company all call where Caroline Ellison leads this call to basically break the news to all of the employees and tell them what's going on, what happened, what's going on from here. And she sounds evil while she's doing it, chuckling and like laughing about things. Like, it's not funny, dude. It's really not funny. She's sitting there laughing, telling all these people like, yeah, I don't think you guys will have a job. Anyways, the news from today's the closing arguments from the prosecution in the trial. They came out and said, how is this MIT graduate who ran this company, meeting with leaders of the world, the literal king of crypto, suddenly not know what happened? Because SBF is playing dumb in court. I don't remember. I don't recall. And that doesn't surprise me one bit that SBF is doing that. Because what's he going to do? Get on there and say, yeah, I'm guilty? He doesn't really have a choice. But the fact that he doesn't have a choice doesn't make it any better. I'm excited to see how this goes. I don't think there's any room here for SBF to not go to prison. Caroline's got a way out. She's been fully cooperative, so I could see her getting like probation, a ban on trading stocks and equities, and whatever else they can do. But there's also the chance that something wild happens and the case gets thrown out for a clerical issue or something. All right. That is enough about crypto and SBF and FTX. We'll see what happens with that trial here soon. Like I said, the next part of that trial is in 24. I wanted to touch on tomorrow night's game, and I will touch on tomorrow night's game tomorrow also. We've got the Titans and the Steelers. There's not much to say that I haven't already said about this game. I just hope Kenny Pickett's back. I hope we have Kenny back. I've been called the biggest Kenny Pickett hater and dick rider somehow at the same time, and I think that's accurate. Kenny Pickett to me is like golf. I love to hate him. Same with the Steelers right now, this season especially. I love to hate them because push comes to shove, they're my team. Always will be. That'll never change. They could go 0-16 5 years in a row. I'm still going to be here. Shout out to Cleveland fans, honestly. I don't know how y'all do it. Respect. And another update on the sweatshirt situation. If you listen to the last couple of episodes, you know that at the end I've been ranting about just what's going on in my life. If this is your first episode, I'll give you a little refresher. Long story short, met this girl. We hit it off really well. Like, she's texting me, FaceTiming me multiple times a day. We hung out Monday, went on a date, and then we were like, okay, when can we see each other? It was great. Took her to the airport. Boom. As soon as she lands, it's like I never existed. And that's cool. Don't care. What I do care about is that I gave her a sweatshirt of mine. I texted her after, she sent a long paragraph about, we should be friends. Yeah, go fuck yourself, friends. Said, like, do you want me to leave it outside in a bag? And I told her, sure. And I said that at like midnight, and then 6 a.m, I was like, actually, no. Like, I would rather pick it up from you. But if you don't want to do that, yeah, let me know when to be there. She still hasn't texted me back. I don't think I'm getting this sweatshirt back. If I was an asshole, if I was a piece of shit, which we won't go there. If I was an asshole, if I wasn't such a nice guy, I'd take her to court. Small claims court is anything over $20. Bitch, I got a receipt. $39.99 fucking hoodie. Not a hoodie. It's a crew neck. And it's the comfiest crew neck I own. Sprayed it with my cologne, gave it to, like, fuck off. Give me that. It's not yours. It's mine. You know where I live, too. You could come in the middle of the night and drop it on my porch for all I care. Just give me that shit back. But I think that's enough ranting for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to have Panda picks. I'm going to pick Thursday night, Sundays, and Monday night's game. Please do not ride my bets. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt always. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert. I'm just here to talk shit at FBGM. You feel me? And that will be the end of today's show. Thank you all so much. And a special shout out to my friends. I'm going to try not to cry. I love every single one of you. Thank you for being such a positive force in my life. You all truly mean the world to me. My name is Panda. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This has been another episode of Panda Rants.